Okay, then for everyone who didn't catch up until now, we have our next guest with us. I think it would be best if we would let him introduce by himself. Hi.
Well, I'm Mathijs Kok. I've been in the flight sim business close to 30 years now. 20 years at Airsoft, before that at other companies. And since about a year, I'm part of the PMDG team. I run a couple of projects there, and I run also the marketing there. And I'm here in that capacity.
Well, hello. Thank you for joining us. We are really honored to have you with us. It's really great from you to join us in this stream. We were very happy. Everyone was very happy at Mockingbird Air when they heard that you would be joining us today. Well, you said you just said you were working with PMDG, and that's the main reason we're having this stream today, because we are flying in the Boeing 777 today from Seattle to Berlin. It's our delivery flight to Mockingbird Air, to our virtual airline. And yeah, first of all, thank you for bringing us this beautiful aircraft to our home simulators.
It was our pleasure.
It's really, really, really great. I love this airplane. I think it's now out for maybe about a month.
Yeah, about that.
I've flown no other planes since then.
Good. Very good.
Also, the 737 was my favorite plane before that. So yeah, I told Evan just a couple of minutes ago when we talked earlier. Even in the old days of FSX or P3D, I used the PMDG products were as my favorite. I also had some airplanes. I had the A320 from Aerosoft, but I was mostly flying around with the PMDG line, and it's my favorite developer since then.
Well, PMG always had the idea that there has to be multiple layers in the project. So if you can fly the aircraft in normal conditions, you can make it a little harder for yourself
Yeah,
by
sure,
including some of the small failures, and then
sure.
if you get better, being able to handle the larger failures. I think that's one of the reasons people keep on flying the the high-end aircraft that we do.
Absolutely,
There's
absolutely. It gives us a big step towards realism, real world operations. You can do multiple operations with this aircraft. Also other PMDG aircrafts, and I think that's why also many people who are studying or want to fly aircrafts in real life use these airplanes to study them beforehand.
Yeah, but it should be noted that they're not intended for that, right?
Yeah,
It's
sure,
a it's a the hobby product.
sure, absolutely, absolutely.
That said, we find it extremely cool that we at this moment we don't only license from Boeing, but Boeing also licenses stuff from us. That is something that happened recently, and that is really cool. That really means that we are doing something right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's what also Evan said before. PMDG is one of the big names. I think everyone who is active in flight simulation doesn't come to avoid the name PMDG.
Well, that means that I'm pretty useless in doing marketing then.
No, I think it's quite the opposite, because when there was your change announced last year, I think there was the whole simulation world kind of shocked, or everyone was looking to PMDG and what happens now. And I think you're doing very great job since then.
Thank you. It it was indeed personally for me also a huge change, but it is also a change for P PMDG because the team got a lot larger when
Yeah.
I joined, because I was not the only one that
Yeah.
joined the team. And instead of one product line at this moment, we can now develop two product lines, and that ideally we would like to do one major release every year instead of one major release every 2.5 years.
Uh, I
Um,
I
that
think
that makes a lot of sense for us at this
abs-
moment.
absolutely. I think every flight simulation fan would be very happy to hear this every major release every year. Well, would you like to tell us a little about the plane we are flying in? I mean, most of the people or most of our viewers also have flown this plane before, be it in this simulator or in older sims like FSX P3D. But yeah, tell us a little bit about this plane. What were the difficulties in developing, or what are things you really like about it?
What we like about it is that um, it is so completely different from the 737. It is that it's like it's built by a completely different company. The whole idea behind it is different. The automation in the 777 is in parts even more deep than it is in an Airbus, and these systems that talk to each other, that have to work together, those are always the most difficult things in
Yeah,
the development. You can develop one system to a great degree, but that means you have to develop the system that talks to it in the same degree. So, like so often, it is a question of knowing when to stop. Uh,
yeah,
what is the goal that you have? At what point are you doing things that customers will never see?
sure,
In this
sure,
in this product, there are a lot of things that only maintenance people or pilots with a lot of hours will ever see. And still, it is there because they help to make another part more realistic.
absolutely. What,
And
absolutely.
I think that is in these kind of products, with Airsoft, with the Airbuses, I had exactly the same. At what moment do you actually stop? There's always a developer who says, I've got this very cool idea, we should do this. And then it's always hard to say that you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
Every step you take is one step for the developer, but it means also extra work for the project manager, for the guy who makes the manuals, for the testers.
sure.
It is uh, you are getting to a point where it makes little sense, and finding that point is really hard. I
I
must say that Robert is really good at that.
I absolutely agree with you. What I was really surprised, but a good surprise, a good way of surprised when I first flown this aircraft was the absolute astonishing performance. I mean, we had other add-ons which were on a similar system depth, but they weren't nearly as good as in performance as the 777 is now.
Yeah, I think that is something that was taken over from the 737, which was always really light on the systems. To be perfectly honest, we don't even have a complete. Um, we don't actually know why other aircrafts are heavier on
Yeah,
the resources. A lot has to do with the fact that a lot of our code is really old. It has been looked at so many times and has been optimized so many times
sure.
that that helps our developers. The coders have been doing it for, well, some of them 25 years, so they know how to write efficient code. The modelers are also very efficient, but um, it is it is, but again, that has a lot to do with knowing where to stop.
I can absolutely imagine. You were saying that the team from PMDG has grown and you can now work on 2 projects. Would you like to share with us what are the next big steps PMDG wants to bring us to the community?
No, other than what Robert wrote in the forums, I can't tell. Um, the 777F is going into beta really soon. That looks really good.
Okay.
Uh, we are doing the last steps on that. That team will most likely return for a sweep over the 737 because that needs a little bit of love. But yeah, we have not another team that is working on another aircraft project. We have
Yeah,
been doing that last year.
I remember, if I remember correctly, the next steps after not thinking of the other 777 variants were as well the 747, if I remember correctly. Do correct me if I'm wrong. And if I heard correctly, you were also working on a 737 Max. Is that right?
Uh, you were making my life hard here. Um, yeah, both of these aircraft are uh, very much looked at. That's all I'm going to say.
No, no, don't worry. I didn't want to go in this deep. It's just when we're a big community, we love the airplanes, and we are always looking forward to what is coming next.
Well, over the course of this year, the complete the 777 line will be completed. We will do several updates on the current 737. That is basically the plan for this year.
Sounds great. We're very looking forward to this. Speaking of the products of PMTG of other developers, we have some very high quality products. You said PMDG products are for the people who do it as a hobby, not for particular training. But in your opinion, how important are these high quality airplanes for the community? For the guys who are doing it as a hobby, for people who like to use it as training methods, how important is that in your opinion?
The flight simulation is the, the, the whole reason of the hobby is learning. Um, you you start with simple aircraft and then start to fly more complex aircraft, more complex routes, more complex landings. You deepen your knowledge the whole time, and there is considerable group of customers uh, who was, when Flight Simulator 2020 launched, maxed out on the high-end aircraft that we had at that time. They could handle the aircraft completely, they understood all the systems.
Yeah.
So there was absolutely a need for a next step on top of that. Well, P2D had some advantages over Microsoft Flight Sim. It is, for instance, it is in some ways much easier to code for. The modeling is much easier for Microsoft Flight Sim, but prepared was easier to do C++ code.
Yeah.
So in the beginning we lost a little bit of system depth. That I think that we have regained that. At the same time, the whole environment around the aircraft, for instance, what Navigraph has been doing,
Sure.
that adds so much on top of simply flying the aircraft. It is now possible to do accurate routing. You make a flight plan that is much more detailed than a flight simulator enthusiast could do
Yeah.
5
Sure.
years back.
Sure.
So all these things have been added, and they add another layer of complexity that people can start to learn with. I I don't think that you should look at it as an entry level real aircraft training tool. Um, it is attractive to see it at that way, but uh, that doesn't speak for the complexity that a real pilot has to deal with. The
Absolutely.
the biggest thing that people that pilots learn when they are in training is to work as a team. It's not one guy on an attic who flies an aircraft, but it's two well-rested, highly trained people who are flying the, the aircraft the whole time. That is a complete aspect that is missing. We also see, if I'm looking at YouTube videos with with the real pilots that help us,
Yeah.
the videos that do uh, failures, we see that uh, the that you reach the limit of the knowledge of the hobbyist really soon. It is really rare that you see a hobbyist handle an emergency ride. Really rare.
That's correct. That's correct. That's also a good thing. You can simulate it with the products. People can get the feeling of how hard or how difficult it can be to handle this outside of the normal operation. I think that's good to see because it helps people to appreciate the work of the real work pilots more, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yep. Yeah. It is. It is. There is really a difference between flight simulators and pilots, and pilots get paid a lot of money.
Yeah,
If it's good, they get paid a lot of money, and they get paid a lot of money for very good reasons.
absolutely, absolutely. We were talking with Evan earlier also, not only about the airplanes but also about the community as such. We have VATSIM to simulators real air traffic. Well, at least try to simulate real air traffic. Um, I think you can use it very good. It is very nice. It brings you very good simulation depth right now. Also on the 777 we have now the CPDLC options we can use for the flight. We have it here. I really like that because it again gives us a new step towards feeling the real thing.
Yes, it was it was it was one of the important systems that we were still missing, and we were behind other developers on that, so we really had to add it to the 777.
Yeah, you may were behind on this before, but I think the way you did it is one of the best I experienced until now.
Yeah, we did it in as you may know, in a slightly different way. Um, we don't let the aircraft talk to VATSIM.
Yeah,
It's all routed to our own server that can handle it a lot easier, a lot faster as well. And gives us also new options. If there is um, a new team that wants to do at the ATC, we don't have to update the aircraft. The aircraft is ready. So we only have to do the module on the server. So in
that's
principle, our 777 can talk to a real air traffic control center because we are using the standard interface. I don't think that they will like it if we do it, but it would work.
I can imagine they wouldn't like it, but on the other hand, it's great because we have other networks like, for example, Pilot Edge or Ivao also, which personally I don't use it. I use VATSIM only. I'm not sure if Ivao or other networks use these CPDLC methods as well, but
Yeah, sure, sure.
if they would or if
Not
they do, yeah.
with eval, it works just the same as with VATSIM. With
Perfect.
Pilot Edge, it does not. They don't offer the interface at this moment.
Yeah, but that's what you told us. If they would offer it, you could just implement it directly,
Yeah,
and that's great.
and they don't have to talk to us about the interface. They can just use the real aviation documentation, and if they handle it that way, the communication works.
That's astonishing. Really, I like it.
There,
Um,
can I make a plea? Um, it is really needed that IVAO and VATSIM and other organizations who work on this um, make their own standard for CPDLC. At, at this moment, the whole communications is based on text messages, on open text messages. And in our server, we have to get the text message and then try to understand what the controller wants. So instead of getting a code like A19,
yeah.
which means you are clear to land, we get something like well, you're now clear to land, and then we have to get from the text, we have to extract what is meant, and it would, for the whole hobby, it would be so great if Ivar and Fatsin would sit together and work on that.
Well,
That has been a hobby horse of me for at least 5 years.
wow. Okay. I mean, it would make things a lot easier if they would do it. But for now, I think the guys from VATSIM, also from IBAO, are doing a great job with providing big depth of realism towards the virtual pilots of this community, and I really appreciate their work as well.
Yeah, we as well. They keep the hobby alive for many people. There are many people who would have left the hobby if this human interaction would not be there, because that is an important part of the whole APC scene. You're
Absolutely.
talking to another human, and that is a lot more fun than listening to the built-in ADC of the flight sim, which is
Absolutely.
not brilliant.
I mean, there are now other options working with AI. We have two competitors, but I still would always prefer VATSIM because, like you said, we have a real human there. They can also react to you in a complete other way than anything else could.
Yep. No, it is being part of a group of people who use the hobby together is a huge deal.
Absolutely. Also, I think there's still a difference between us, who are just a community, and we make everything. Everyone can join us if they like. Um, Also, for you, this is important as a company who wants who wants to sell their products. It is important for this community to stay alive as well.
Yeah, but that's not. We don't see that as a risk at this moment. The whole hobby is still growing.
Yeah, sure.
So no, that is not a risk at this moment. We just wish there was a little bit more strong competition to Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. Right now, yeah, we have Microsoft Flight Sim, and you may maybe see X-Plane as a competitor, but I think that's it for now.
Yeah, and even Explain is the market share that they've got, not in actual amount of users, but in market share, has gone so much down. It becomes really hard to develop for that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think for now, what I see, we have Mockingbird Air for now 3.5 years. We exist as community, as a virtual airline. From my perspective, the community, as you said, is still growing and is now at one of the biggest points where it was before. You have so many people joining the community right now, or being new to flight simulation, wanting to learn or wanting to enter in this world, and I think that's so great.
Yeah, but that's also where all the old folks like me always have to keep an eye on, because we are adding complexity layer upon complexity layer, and it is hard for a beginner to find his way into the hobby.
Yeah,
I hate it when experienced flight simmers speak badly about more simple products, because that is not right. They've got their own place. We all started.
yeah,
We all
exactly.
did our first ILS landing, and we were damned happy that we found the runway. And there are still people like that, and we need young people in the hobby, and we have to keep on helping them. PMDG is not the right company for that, but uh, I visit schools uh, where I show the hobby, and all those kind of things have to be done. Really have to be
Absolutely,
done.
absolutely. I remember my first flights on the standard 737 of FSX many years ago. Then my first time I hopped on the PMDG 737, I was astonished. It was so many new things I didn't have to do in the normal 737 of the simulator. I wish there was it was easier to learn. Now it's easier. You have YouTube videos, you have Twitch streams, you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
forums. You can talk to each other. And that's great. I wish I had that many years before.
yeah. I I also find it problematic that many companies hardly spend time on good manuals.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I really worked. I'm the one who did the manuals for the 777, and I worked for weeks on the tutorial, because I feel that's a hugely important part. If you can use the tutorial, you can fly the aircraft from A to B, and then you can add all the other stuff. But yeah, if I see that products are launched certainly on the marketplace with zero documentation, yeah, how can you expect people to fly a 787 without knowing what systems do?
absolutely, absolutely. Especially with high complex aircraft, like you said, with the 787. What I especially like about the about the 777 is that you have the manuals, or at least the QR codes to the manuals on your EFB, which is great because it makes it really accessible to everyone. If you just need an information at this instant, you can look it up directly while you're flying.
Yeah, and that's also important, because on the Xbox you can't install the manuals on the system.
Sure.
That that is why we have the QR codes then.
Right. I actually didn't know it, but it makes sense. I only fly on my computer, so I didn't know about the Xbox, but it makes sense. Now you're saying it.
There are no PDF readers on Xbox. You
Yeah,
can open a PDF in a browser, but well, yeah, then you have to stop the flight sim, and that is not how it should be.
yeah, you're right. You're
But,
right.
but the manuals we provide, they work really well on an iPad, or even on your phone. They actually work very well.
I saw it. I actually used them. I read them before I hopped on the plane for the first time. I read the whole manuals, just to make sure I'd catch everything up before I start my first flight.
I wish every customer would do that.
I think it would make things a lot easier.
For the customer support department, yes.
Okay, I have one one last question before the end of our good talk. I'm enjoying it very much. What is your personal favorite plane out of all planes you could choose?
That would have to be the Catalina we did 8 years, almost 10 years ago at Aerosoft.
Ah,
I really loved it. I always loved that aircraft, but then I got to fly it quite a lot because we were working with a team that operated Catalina in the Netherlands, and it is an amazing aircraft. The sounds, the smell, the vibrations. That is my favorite aircraft. Plus, you can land it on the runway, on water, everywhere.
can imagine. I have to admit, I think it's the first time someone mentioned this aircraft. I'm always
Yeah,
telling this question to
also.
anyone who's joining us, and this is the first time actually.
Please do not tell Robert, but I'm really not a fan of modern airliners.
I won't tell him. Don't worry. One thing left. Evan told me to tell you hi, and he hopes, or he's looking forward, and he hopes that PMDG is able to join with the next FS Expo.
I'm almost completely sure that we will be. The previous one was just very bad timing, not only because of the release of the 777, but also because of some other things that were happening. So yeah, it was a shame.
Well, that's good thing is the expos every year, so we're
Exactly.
looking forward to the next one.
Okay.
Mathijs, I thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure having you.
Pleasure to be here.
I hope we stay in contact. Maybe we will have next some other opportunities to talk, or maybe even work together. We will see. First, thank you for joining us. If you like,
Anytime.
you can follow up the flight, um, and hope to see you sometime soon.
Okay.
Thank you
Have
very
a good
much.
day and goodbye, everybody.
Yeah. Once again, that was Matthias from PMDG. We are very happy